Here we go. The season proper, well, it tips off on Thursday night, but we got a little bit more preseason action to go. And we kick off this doubleheader, the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix taking on Shibuya. Sunrockers, one of the best names in international basketball. I'm Felix von Hoff, and I'm joined by Michael Hubin to take you through both of these games. Michael, welcome, and we are in. If the last game's taught us something, we're in for some high-quality basketball.
That's right. Every single preseason game we're getting closer to the real thing, and I think we're seeing more available players. We're seeing a better reflection of what the actual season's going to look like for these teams.
We certainly are, and the man who's come into the lineup, he came in last game, it's John Brown III, now a fantastic European pedigree, but when he's in the lineup, they look fantastic on the defensive end, and we've been told before by the pundits that Josh King is a defensive coach, and that's how they're going to go about this thing when John Brown III's on the floor. Now, there's no Nathan Sobey tonight, but we chat John Brown III. When he's on the floor, he looks to just be the little puzzle piece this defense needed, a sort of an extension of the coach.
He's an excitement machine, isn't he? You can see the energy is so animated, a really high-motor player. Not the same player that we thought Perth were going to get a couple of years ago, but he's still got so much left in the tank, and as you said, a perfect Josh King type of player.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. The teams across the league, marquee signings left, right and centre, they're all a level above what they were last year. And for Southeast Melbourne, there were some questions on imports they brought in. Blyenberg, there's still questions above his head. He was ejected on Friday night after calling the ref a word that I will not dare repeat on this broadcast. No, it wasn't that bad, but it was one you can't use in a basketball sense. But he's going to want to come out today and have a real big game.
He's a real enigma, isn't he? We've seen him labelled as a unicorn, a very unique player at 6'10", but I think he's still trying to find his place among this Southeast unit. And for a Southeast Melbourne team that has a totally new import trio, his contributions are going to be really big for this team. He feels like the sort of swing player for this unit.
Certainly will be, and I'm certain that he can find his feet. Look, we've seen imports come in and have tough preseason, then be dominant when they start playing for all the marbles. And you hope for Southeast Melbourne and Vrenz Blyenberg that is the way, but he'll certainly want to have a little bit better of an outing than he did last time around. We're ready to tip off here. The Sunrockers taking on the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. The boxing's done. If you're watching that, Terrence Bud Crawford, he's the new champ. Now it's time to lock in on the basketball. What a Sunday we've got for you. A doubleheader of the Perth Wildcats against Rayuba. Coming up next, I might have just got that one wrong as well, but it's somewhere near that. Let's get this one underway. Owen Foxwell, he's fantastic in game one. Lewis gets it tipped off early, not the start that he would have been dreaming of. And Malik Lewis, Michael, just a next star that we see. When they have their second year in the league, they take a real jump.
That's right. We've seen him already in these preseason games look so much better than we saw last season. I think a step up in terms of his ability. His body looks a little bit stronger, but also in terms of the opportunity he's being given by Josh King, getting a little bit more action on the ball, which is really exciting.
Well, Peter Hooley was telling me that he said, now Hooley likes to put words in people's mouths, but he told me that he said he wants to be the league's best defender this year, and he's got the physical tools to do it, and he's got the work rate to do it. As Geordie Hunter gets the nice little bounce pass. Can't complete the slam, but he'll go to the line to earn it the hard way.
Geordie's going to be a big piece for Southeast this season, the man in the middle, and it'll be interesting to see that interplay between John Brown III and Geordie as well. That's a bit of size in the front court.
The biggest thing for Geordie Hunter this year, stay on the floor. Now, he is a guy that, for better or worse, and you love it as a coach, he goes up and he will contest every time someone goes to the ring. He is not going to sit there and back away from any contest, but what that does is sometimes leaves him in foul trouble towards the end of the game, and they didn't really have any backup options for him last year. Gorjok Gat coming in this year, who we'll see a little bit later, he's at least someone else they can put through there. John Brown III, he can play a bit of that 5 spot, so they can allow him to be a little bit more aggressive, as he should be this year.
Absolutely. Look, we talk about that interplay between Brown and between Geordie Hunter, but I think John Brown, part of that is a contingency for Geordie's foul trouble as well.
Tanaka, 8 seconds on the shot clock, gets to Welsh. Sunrockers still looking to open their account. They can there, knocks down the triple.
Troy Murphy, we saw him in the NBL Select games not too long ago. Exciting young player, 22 years old.
Too easy for Geordie Hunter, right through the lane and slams it home. And Hooley Billy and I were discussing on Friday night, just the amount of money that goes between these teams in the Japanese B-League is outstanding.
Absolutely, and you look at the quality of their imports, and a big reason why a lot of Australian players have made the jump over there.
Good pressure in the front court from Foxwell. Grantham will drive hard left to the rim. Well defended by John Brown III, but the referee is going to staunchly disagree with me.
Don't think John Brown was a big fan either.
As you wouldn't be when you get whistled with one. But it's always a tough, especially for guys that have played in Europe, coming over and adjusting to physicality, because you look at some of these European games, the armbar, stuff like that, that is total free zone. You can go away with that. Grantham from the elbow, rattles at home. You're not going to get whistled for a foul, but over here, as soon as that referee sees the armbar, you're gone.
I was going to say, we talk about the adjustments that the bigs have to make. As someone who's played in the league, what do you think those adjustments are quite specifically outside of the armbar?
Oh, geez, my whole 6 minutes. My 6 minutes was spent on the offensive end as well. But no, it's really positioning is where they really whistle the stuff hard. I feel like in European basketball, you can get away with a lot more sort of pushing guys around with your body that you just can't do here. And that's more just from an observational perspective. Murphy, nice drive baseline. He's going to find the shooter on the outside. Kicks it along. Vendrame, he had a strong game in game one. Malik Lewis will clean it up. Hunter, guarded by Grantham. A little further out than he'd probably like. Spins back, spins through, and draws the contact. What are you most looking forward to, Mike, about the season? Totally unrelated to this game.
I was going to say, that's a broad question.
It's going to be more, you know what, we start broad and then we get really, really small as we get close to the end of this game. But no, across the league, what are you most looking forward to?
Look, I think there's going to be some fantastic matchups early. I think of Bryce Cotton and the Perth Wildcats. That's going to be a really exciting matchup. I think Adelaide 36ers.
Burn that house down.
Absolutely.
He says, well, maybe he said about the newspaper, but we'll bend the words a little bit and say he was threatening the arena itself.
It'll be interesting to see like how real that animosity is. And then the same with Kendrick Davis as well and the Adelaide 36ers. We saw Trez's comments the other day. Not massive fans of each other, it seems.
There is, and I'll tell you what, for those watching it, I don't think the full story of these, we're going to try to get to the bottom of it, but the text messages that have been flying, the DMs that have been flying of people saying, hey, this is what really happened. There is bad blood between these two teams, between Kendrick Davis and Adelaide, and between those who are at Adelaide and Kendrick Davis. And you know what that means to me? It means showtime, and I'm tuning in when they go head-to-head because it's going to be absolute fireworks. Grantham up top. Guarded by Brown. Gets it tipped away. Foxwell in the open court. So nice with the hesitation. Gets that one tipped away. Unfortunately for Welsh, it appeared to have been in the cylinder, but we see it right there. Foxwell getting the tip on the defensive end. Takes it well. It's such a nice... And that is against Murphy, who is a strong, heavy minutes guard of the Japanese B-League, which, as we know, we don't need to say it, is strong competition. I think Foxwell's really due for a proper breakout year.
He's had a fantastic offseason, and it's awesome to see him get the keys at this point guard position. It looked like, Murray Moore for a second there was probably going to get it. Maybe Owen Foxwell was going to come off the bench. But I think leaning into the local, leaning into Foxwell, a young player whose trajectory is going up and up is a big move and a good one.
Well, the hard thing for Southeast going forward is I think Foxwell's going to earn a huge amount of money playing basketball. And they've put a huge amount of work into him. And it's been a mutually beneficial thing. He's played some really good minutes for them. But, I want him to be a Phoenix for life. Now, I think he's going to get a chance. Hopefully, it's an NBA Summer League, maybe a two-way contract here or there. He is, a smaller frame than a lot of the guys we see getting those two-way deals. But I'd love to see him rewarded at some point with that. But, geez, I would also like to see him just become a Southeast Melbourne Phoenix player for life.
Well, everyone wants to be a one-team player until the offers start rolling in, Felix.
It's very easy to say until they start throwing you 50 to 100 less. Foxwell continues to put pressure on the paint and gets another little gimme there.
It's fantastic to see his evolution as a scorer. We've seen him, he started out as sort of a defensive specialist. That's how he made his money really early in his career, but now he's being really aggressive on the offensive end.
Thank God he made the change. Welsh at the high post. Tanaka, shot clock winding down, 7 seconds. Pulls up, stops on a dime, and that's way off. Maybe not way off. Maybe maybe I was a bit unkind
Bit
there.
harsh.
I thought it was about to airball. Glover finds Hunter, who almost threads the needle to Lewis down low. Slim lead for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. Little over 6 to go in this first term. Welsh, Hawkinson yet to see floor. He was the massive difference maker in their first game against the Perth Wildcats. When he was on, his plus-minus was certainly in the positive direction, and he's going to check into the game very shortly.
What do you think of the odd shoes, Felix? The blue and the yellow. You're a fan?
I'm a fan of them if you can back it up. Now, Vendrame has played well enough in game one, I think, to be able to do it. And if he knocks this down, no, he didn't take them off. Now you can take them off if you can't hit the mid-range. No, it's one of those ones. If you got the game to back it up, you can wear them. If you don't, you can't. Hunter up top. 10 seconds on the shot clock as Glover gets knocked to the ground. Lewis. Can he force his way into the paint? He can, but he gets it thrown away by Welsh. Foul on the play, and that's the development that's going to come for Lewis as he goes on, is being able to just, get that one up. A little bit of a stronger finish, but he's got plenty of time to do it.
That extra strength in his frame is going to help him at the rim as well. We saw him on the defensive end was great last season, but taking that step offensively and the three ball as well, I think is going to be big for Malik.
Oh, yeah. Tell you what, DJ Scoob over there at the Perth High Performance Centre has this place rocking week in, week out. One of the best to do it across the NBL. Didi Lazada into the game. He can't find anything on the drive. Hawkinson will knock it in, and he's the difference maker. When he's on the floor, this Sunrockers team is a tough beat. Maldonado, not the start he would have wanted, and Lazada's off the other way. Tanaka can't finish it from outside, and Glover will clean it up. Glover works, can't find anything. 10 seconds on the shot clock as he gets the baseline penetration. DJ Mitchell gets it tipped away, a little loose. But none of the Sunrockers wanted a bar of it. Glover, can he punish them? Almost the ultimate coach killer as Lazada pulls down the board. Lazada pressured by Mitchell. He's going to be called on to do that a little bit throughout the year. Hawkinson flips it up and flips it in.
Such a talented big guy, isn't he?
Now, you'd know this. The question's been asked on Twitter about... So Josh Hawkinson, as DJ Mitchell, as Maldonado works off the screen and draws the contact. Josh Hawkinson is a naturalized Japanese player. So he plays for the Japanese national team. Now, remember, he's American citizen, dual citizen, and Japanese citizenship. Is he able to play in the NBL under the, I'm not sure the exact rule, but when we can have a player from one of the Asian countries under a restricted, it's not an doesn't come under the import. Now, can Hawkinson play in the NBL under that, or does his US citizenship supersede that?
That is a great question, and look, I will say the rules tend to be a little bit fluid year to year.
Oh, they do. Depends who it is.
But what I will say is, broadly speaking, my understanding of the definition is you have to have been born in the country, and it is not any Asian country. It has to be one of a particular designated big market Asian country. So you think of your Andre Blatches, your Jordan Clarksons, they're not guys that would be classified under that ruling.
Hawkinson, I'll tell you what, you'd want to see a bit more of that in the NBL as he puts it in. He's a tough customer.
He'd do a bit of damage, wouldn't he, Felix? He's got a bit of size, and we know the Japanese league, they love their bigs, don't they?
We've lost some good Aussie bigs over there as well. Of course, Brock Modem playing some years over there. Nick Kay, Angus Brandt. A lot of really good Aussie bigs have earned a heap of money playing over there. Maldonado just draws the contact on a nice strong drive. Whistled for another foul. Back-to-back possessions.
You can see just the size of Maldonado as well. Such a big guard, and it seems like something that Josh King really wanted, because that is a common thread between him and Amari Moore as well. Someone that can defend multiple positions. You can see that just his size is giving the Japanese guards a bit of trouble.
Maldonado knocks down the first as I got a mouthful of gummy worms. And Maldonado's a guy that's sort of, as people have come to understand, is Gak with a nice rebound. People have come to understand his role more throughout this preseason, that it's not a guy to come out there, especially with Sobi on the floor, to be putting up a heap of points. He's a good, strong defender, looks after the ball. Blindberg, he's going to work on the perimeter. Open lane, gives it off to Gak. Geez, I would love to see him go up and throw it down.
Jeez, well, he loves passing first, right? And that's what we love about Vrenz. He's someone that is able to take guys off the dribble at 6'10", and a nice little wraparound pass there.
Fantastic wraparound pass from Blindberg. Welsh just camped in the paint, goes up for the hook shot. Wasn't pretty, but they'll count the bucket and he'll get a chance for one more.
One shot, guys.
Tough move there. Not much that Gurjot Gak could really do outside of what he did.
Just quietly, a shout out to Paddy Ryan as well, getting his first minutes for South East Melbourne tonight. Someone that played a couple of years at Menlo College.
Oh. Hello. Maldonado up top, off the Gak screen. The lob threat coming through the paint. Maybe just had a thought Ben Simmons had joined the league for a minute there. A little bit too ambitious. Would have been quite the highlight reel. What about Ben Simmons, Mike? I know you got your ear to the ground. You got your ear to the ground with this stuff. Is there right now? It's looking like as Nozaki will go to the line for two. It's looking like Ben Simmons is not going to receive a contract. Now he has received, I believe, there was a potential offer from New York in the range of $4 million US that he turned down. Do you see any hope? Have you heard any whispers that he's going to come down under?
Speaking of a bit optimistic, I think the chances of seeing him in the NBL are slim to none. I would love to see it. I think it would be fantastic. And, it'd be great to see Ben back at home in Australia. But I don't think we can understate, beyond everything else that's happened in his career, that back injury was debilitating. You can see that he doesn't play the same way that he was. And that would affect you from a lifestyle point of view as well. So I'd love to see him, just take it easy, make the right decision for him.
If I had a sore back and someone in New York offered me $4 million to laze around in the Big Apple, I'd be taking it and sitting in the hammock on a rooftop. But yeah, I can't see him turning that down and then going over to Tasmania, that's for sure. No offense to our Taswegian listeners. Hawkinson can't finish. But it'll be followed up by Nagayoshi. And the Sunrockers just putting in a much better effort than their first game. Blindberg can't complete the triple. Hawkinson will push out the other way. Nozaki. Hawkinson, guarded by the much smaller Maldonado. He's got the mismatch. Fades away. Can't make him pay. And Gak will rip down a clean board.
There's that versatility of Maldonado as well. You can switch him onto the block. You can guard those bigger players.
Maldonado, go under. Tries to make him pay. Hits front iron. Blindberg, he'll be needing this to go in. Now, we had a glitch, but we can only assume that the ball went in based on the score and the reaction. Poor guy. He finally knocked one down and we couldn't even see it. That's a good start for Vrenz Blindberg. Hawkinson can't complete the mid-range. Right now, and maybe this is just me speaking, I'd like to see them go right through Vrenz.
I think
we need you to be at your best. Show us what you got. Here he is here. Nice little pass to the corner. Maldonado. He can't cash the triple. Hawkinson. Harper Jr. will throw up a prayer. We are locked at 19 apiece. Fast-paced action to start this one off. A double head of the Perth Wildcats coming up next. But Mike, what do you make of the first quarter?
Yeah, it's been a good one so far. I'm keen to see a little bit more from guys like Renz that you mentioned before. You know, I think it's a bit of a disservice to have this guy standing in the corner. You got to have the ball in his hand. So I want to see a little bit more from him as we go forward into this game. I want to see a few more threes from Southeast Melbourne as well. I think that might be one of the deficiencies on their roster. They're 1 of 7 so far in the first quarter. So it'll be interesting to see if they knock down a few more.
Certainly Nathan Sobey when he's in this lineup, but you could probably count for at least an extra 3 being thrown up. Whether they be good or bad shots, you know they're going up with Nathan Sobey. Now, we spoke on Friday as well. Such a key for this unit is Nathan Sobey bringing the sort of basketball that he brought in the second half of the year. And, you know, when Josh King got appointed the head coach of this unit, he came in and he started playing that classic Nathan Sobey basketball that we've known to come and love. So you'd hope for them. And he's shown some good signs throughout the preseason that he can bring that level of basketball.
Yeah, I think there's a good Nathan Sobey and there's a bad Nathan Sobey. And we saw as soon as that coaching change happened, we got Josh King in, Nathan Sobey was at his best. And I think you do, in a similar way to Vrenz, you need to empower him to play his best basketball.
Sunrockers fans already cracked open the pale ales on a Sunday.
It's going to be a long Sunday.
It's 2 p.m. My God. They do it better in Japan. You were saying so?
Yeah, Nathan Sobey at his best, still a fantastic player, so dynamic, but you have to empower him, you have to let him play his game. Now, whether that's starting, whether that's coming off the bench, again, you can't just have him sort of sitting idle.
Now, I've been on Twitter, Mike, and I don't think they're happy with Beat the Coach, Super Coach.
Is that right?
Well, it's just going off what the tweets are saying. And they just remove the graphic as I say that. Smart move. But no, I think that once people give it a crack, they'll really enjoy it. Montrez Harrell's got his team in there. You got to beat him each week to get your prizes. And I hate to break it to Montrez, but he picked Jack McVeigh in round 1, who's only playing once. The whole key to the game is you pick people that are playing twice. So I think he's going to be an easy beat in round 1. If you get involved with that with Supercoach, certainly give it a crack. Grantham up top. Nazaki kicks it out. And there we go. Zendrain. Multicolored kicks. If you're going to be wearing shoes like that, Mike, that's what you got to be doing.
Yeah, I don't know if you can be banking in too many if you're wearing those.
Foxwell, 6 seconds on the shot clock, deep in the paint. Finds Glover on the outside, his NBL 1. Backcourt partner for a season there. He'll draw contact on the outside and go to the line for 3. Not what you want with the shot clock winding down. Fouling the shooter, just putting up a prayer.
It's a tough one. Glover's one of the best volume three-point shooters in the league. You do want to contest him, but that's a bad one to give up.
Still early preseason days for these Japanese B-League teams. There's the NBL guys about to kick this thing off on Thursday night. Melbourne United taking on Tassie. A grand final rematch, 2 years old. But certainly, Scott Roth just had the wood, especially over in Tassie, on Dean Vickerman's men. So can they start their season off with a bang? Melbourne United getting their bogey team away.
Now, we saw Melbourne United prior to the Blitz. I thought they looked really good. Big fan of Tyson Walker. And Tassie, what do you make of them this season, Felix?
I think Tyson Walker is extremely entertaining on the court. I listened to an SEN radio interview, and my God, you got to give us a bit more, Tyson. You got to give us a bit more. We're trying to grow the game, my man. He was very short with his answers. But you know, when you play for these big city teams, you don't really need to sell as much. You just got to go out there and perform. There's one thing Melburnians like above an entertaining radio interview, and that's winning. So I think they're going to be just fine, but you're right. I think Edwards looks really tough. As good defensive pressure there from, you guessed it, John Brown III. He's been doing that his whole career. And Josh King, you probably couldn't ask for anyone better to be in his lineup. Nice little flick back past the Hunter. Can't complete it. But yeah, you're right, Melbourne United, they do look a lot tougher than when they'd named their imports. And I looked at their roster, I thought, you know, player for player, they've dropped off from last year. Now, that was still a team that made it to Game 5 of the Championship and probably should have won Game 5 of the Championship and gone home as champions. But I thought they've dropped off here. But after seeing them play, I think Dean Vickerman's got a group that really suits his style.
think there's a few teams in the league that are always greater than the sum of their parts, and Melbourne United is one of those teams. And you can often peg that down to the coaching. I think Dean Vickerman, he knows exactly what he wants at each position. You think of a guy like Finn Delaney, he's very much in that Luke Travers, Jack McVeigh Jack White sort of mould. And, I think those pieces are really set to fit well together.
NBA level move from Didi Lazada. Shaking bank, stop on a dime, right on Malik Lewis, who's no easy player to get by.
Bit of next star on next star there.
Oh, just the old next star veteran letting him know. Just stay with it, young fella. Geordie Hunter tries his luck again from outside. It's 0 for 2 on the game. Lazada will caress the rebound. Tanaka. Grantham gets the mismatch down low, goes upstairs, far too big for Owen Foxwell. John Brown just getting pushed, and Foxwell again getting into the paint, gets it slapped away, but he'll draw a bit of contact on the way through. Will the referees give it in the two-step motion, or will they take it back to the baseline? Good move here, and good job by the Sunrockers, just noticing the mismatch down low. Not much that Foxwell can do there, but avoid the foul.
Down the other end, Owen Foxwell continues to be aggressive. He had 18 points in 21 minutes on Friday, and he's leading the scoring again, 6 points so far.
Tough customer. Of course, there were some threats that he was going to head over and earn big money playing college basketball, but unfortunately, just don't believe for his sake, for his bank account, unfortunately some things just didn't quite work out, and the NBL and Southeast Melbourne's gain. He's back here with us, and little fouls like this with Geordie Hunter are what you want to avoid.
It's the ones that are not needed, right? You're inevitably going to pick up some as the big man, but stuff like that, it's just going to hurt you at the end of the day.
And that's 2 fouls early in the ball game. Sunrockers fans just getting feverish, losing their minds. A second foul for the Southeast Melbourne big man. Harper Jr. in no rush. Well guarded by Foxwell, tips it away. Hunter's going to chase it down, knows he's doesn't necessarily have a foul to give, and he almost put 2 hands on and got a push. Harper Jr. certainly not happy with the call here. What are you seeing, Mike? Because I'm currently dealing with some bacterial conjunctivitis. And it's hard for me to see anything.
Look, I think Geordie was lucky not to pick up a foul there. He was probably pretty smart, but, the 2 hands can get you sometimes. So hard to say who was off, but I'm happy he didn't pick up another one.
I am a big fan, though, of in exhibition games, we just say, hey, we're all here to get better. Who cares about the fouls? Quick move there.
Are you advocating for, Felix, a bit of a summer league foul limit? An 8 or 9 sort of thing going on?
I'm advertising for a WWE SummerSlam type atmosphere out there. Just let them go. No, I do like the summer league. I think at the end of the day, no one's going to go out there and just foul for the sake of it. But we saw it in the Blitz as well. We don't want to be losing guys based on a couple of hands foul when they're exhibition games. Teams are both here trying to get better.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
The refs are only able to do what they're instructed to do, so that's up to the higher ups, not the officials on court. The Guy Nevilles of the world. The big decision makers, the big cheese, head honchos. 1 point game, Sunrockers clearly over their jet lag and bringing it to Southeast Melbourne. Foxwell. Brown gets it into Hunter, who's going to be double teamed. Nice little back cut pass to Malik Lewis for the lay-in.
That's beautiful, isn't it?
Fantastic. Nice play from Southeast Melbourne. They're all defense, they tell me, Mike. And then they're going to whip that one out.
Yeah, that's code for not much offense, I think. That's going to be one of their challenges. But if they're going to pass and cut like that, that's going to really help them. Geordie
Hunter, a fantastic passer out of the post. And as we've said, he's just got to stay out there. He's got to stay healthy, which he's done a great job over the last couple of years.
A little check-in on that three-point shooting. We're up to 1 of 9 for Southeast Melbourne. Yep. I think Nathan Sobey will help that cause a little bit, but you have a look at his stats. He hasn't shot over 32% from 3 since back in 2021, so it's been a little while. As you said, he's a volume shooter, but is he an efficient one?
I will say, and I have been personally critical, especially at the beginning of the season on NBL Overtime, which is going to be back tomorrow night on Monday on ESPN. You can tune into that at 7 p.m, and I won't be as critical this time, because when you do look at Nathan Sobey's stats across the season as a whole, he's always got the ball in his hands right at the end of the shot clock. Now, a lot of players, they get to the rim, they get to the rack at the end of the shot clock. He does shoot a lot of pull-up threes, very heavily contested late. So sometimes his 35% is probably going to be pushed in a real game sort of percentage up to 40 or even a little bit higher. So sometimes we can be led astray, and I do believe at times we are with Nathan Sobey in that regard.
Absolutely.
Hawkinson. John Brown just all over Grantham at the top. And an offensive foul called. And I've just had it pointed out to me, as I said before, that the Sunrockers might have suffered a bit of jet lag in the first game, that it's an hour time difference in Japan. And jet lag is probably not the most of their concern. So as Glover tries his luck from outside, he cashes that one. Appreciate Nick, the Wildcat superfan, for pointing that one out. It's a very, very fair statement.
Sunrockers 30-30 on the season last B-League season, so they're about a middle-of-the-pack B-League team.
Well, I hate to see the top of the pack because they got some talent out there on the floor. Grantham finds Yamauchi outside. He'll kick it to Hawkinson. Picking up where he left off in game 1.
You're right. I think Hawkinson could do a bit of damage in the NBL. He just has that quiet game where he can score inside, he can score out. Very versatile.
He's a prototypical big in the NBL, an extremely talented player, and he would come with a hefty price tag if he was to ever come down under. Glover from the corner. Southeast just still struggling to get it going from outside. Foxwell with the nice hands. Can he finish it? He can.
I think Owen Foxwell has been fantastic on both ends of the floor in this game. You've just seen his ball pressure, just a sneaky little tap away there, but even the point of attack, he has been amazing there and super aggressive on the offensive end.
It is the hardest position for a young Australian to break into a team as well, the point guard slot, because it is almost exclusively for imports. Foxwell just holding up the flag for Australia in there as well. Shout for hands on the little fella. And he's going to go in transition, draw the contact, and one. How's the purple patch from Owen Foxwell?
Just relentless activity from Owen, and this is why we love him so much. This is how he earned his keep early in his career. Just the 1%ers playing with great activity on the defensive end, and what a finish as well.
22 years, Owen Foxwell. Now, there are guys that have played at big universities over in America, and we've all known their name as they've been going through college. Australian guys have come over, and they haven't been able to put up anywhere near the sort of production that Owen Foxwell has. It's amazing that sometimes we can sort of lose sight of the guys that are over here in the NBL, and we assume that they're already 25, 26. He's 22 years old, a young 22.
As you said, he had the opportunity to potentially go to college this offseason, a la Ben Henschel. Didn't make the move, but you could imagine he would be a starter at a Power 5 right now if he had the opportunity.
Definitely 100% a starter at a Power 5. You could take guys out of college over there that would not. Look, we have next stars that come over, and of course they're obviously much younger, but nowhere near the production. Nice little pass there. Blindberg back into the game, finds Glover. I could not possibly be higher on Owen Foxwell, and I think under Josh King, the pressure from Southeast Melbourne, this is what you're going to see this year.
Absolutely. Look, we've spoken about the offensive end. That's one thing, but this is where their bread and butter is going to come from. Their pressure, 1 through 5, has been fantastic in this game.
And it's guys like Glover, as he tries his luck from outside. That would have brought the house down if it wasn't John Kane. Blindberg, can he continue to trouble the scorers? Nice little pass off to Gak there, and maybe I was wrong calling for him to finish earlier, because that's nice. Two nice little Passes there as the official just says to Southeast Melbourne, be friendly and don't play such aggressive defence. Can they continue to heap the pressure up? But as I was saying, it's guys like Foxwell and Glover who just feel like they're right in that Josh King wheelhouse of player, especially Foxwell.
They're setting the tone, right? And you're adding guys like John Brown III, who I think is almost like the perfect energy guy on and off the court in terms of what we're talking about with this Southeast Melbourne identity. And, you know, they could potentially be the best defensive team in the league.
And that's what I want to see as well, because I still see, as a Melburnian and as a Victorian, I see Melbourne United as the suit-wearing, coffee-drinking Blue Bloods, and Southeast Melbourne, from out in the suburbs, the workhorses. And the fact that they're playing that style, that hard-nosed, gritty defensive style, it just works for the narrative. Didi Lozada with a nice little fadeaway. And look at them. Hold them back. The Sunrockers are going to storm the court if they keep this up. But the storylines of this season are just writing themselves at the moment. And Weinberg, nice little whip-around pass. DJ Mitchell can't get the finish. Cannot wait to tip this thing off on Thursday night in Tasmania, live on ESPN. Welsh gets the matchup with the smaller Maldonado, but he's going to give it away to Hawkinson. Mitchell in the open court. Glover, does he go upstairs? Couple of knee recos, don't worry about it. He's still got the hops. We got ourselves a ball game here in Southeast Melbourne. Push the lead out to 9.
That's one way you can make up the offense, get some easy transition points, defense into offense, and it's great to see a little bit of athleticism from the glove as well.
The glove? Did you just think that up on the spot?
Didn't think it was 2 left to centre, but
No, it's not.
Are you a fan?
I hadn't heard of it. But, you know, I've heard of Gary Payton as the glove. It's certainly big shoes to fill.
I will throw out, this is another nickname, I won't claim it, I did see it online today. Andrew Andrews, the new Cairns Type Ends import. Tell me if you can think of anything better I saw today.
Sure, I could think of a lot better than Andrew Andrews.
The Echo.
Oh, that's good. That's fantastic. The Echo. I might be rolling with that. And there's probably less people watching this stream that'll be watching, you know, the real stuff when we kick off on ESPN, so I will be stealing that and claiming it as my own.
I can't begrudge you. I stole it first.
9-point lead to Southeast Josh King. He'd be very happy with that number on the Sunrockers. 30 points with a little under 4 minutes to go in this first half. They were fantastic on the defensive end against Reuko, the Golden Kings, on Friday night. And what we've seen here, for anyone that had concerns over the Blitz, now admittedly it's against different competition, but these B-League teams are tough. Good signs. Grantham, tough move, and one in the face of Gak. And Blindberg appears to...
Yeah, it was on 4.
They've just copped a stray one. As we look at the replay here, we'll see where the contact happened, and can't exactly gauge anything from there. It appears to have hopefully not grabbing at the hamstring. We hope that was just a contact injury. He'll be helped to his feet by his teammates, and never what you want to see in the preseason. We'll try to just gather as he walks off. And feel free to correct me on any of these, Mike, but I would lean towards a lower leg injury in the way that he's walking and holding his sort of quad.
Yeah, something in that lower half. It's hard to say exactly what, but it has been a tough preseason for Vrens. You know, you mentioned the ejection previous game. I think he's still trying to find his feet. And limited minutes so far in this one as well. We've seen a couple of nice passes, but I think he's still trying to figure out where exactly he fits. And this little knock, keeping him out of this one, isn't exactly going to help his momentum heading into the rotation.
No, and he'd been attacking the rim, made a couple of nice passes. This could have been the game where he was finding his feet. Unfortunate stuff for Vrens Blindberg, the unicorn. Maldonado off the Gak screen. It's deep into the paint. Pass will be picked off. Are there any rules Mike, within the B League, about how many I know in the CBA, got rules about how many locals you have to have on the court at one time. Are there any of those? As the Phoenix are in the bonus and they'll go to the free throw line.
It's a good question. A good question that I do not know the answer to off the top of my head. But I believe Pete might have touched on this one on Friday because I was listening to your fantastic broadcast.
Oh, God,
and,
I probably should have been listening to him.
I'm not sure if he's the authority on the topic, but
Certainly
I believe
not.
there was some restrictions about how many imports you can have on the court at the same time.
Well, I might have to text him and apologise for not listening on Friday.
With that being said, very different to the CBA, the Chinese League. You look at their rosters, half their team is imports, so it makes no sense for them to have these restrictions. But you look at these B League teams, they only have a couple, so I think it's less of an issue in this league.
Tell you what, if you like stories, and that one will go backcourt violation. Good pressure from Malik Lewis. He wants to be the best defender in the league this year. Well, he's going the right way about it, and I reckon he's on the right team to do it as well.
The more you think about it, we're watching play after play. You know, we mentioned Owen Foxwell, Angus Glover, but they have so many personnel on this defensive end. And Malik Lewis, potentially one of the most versatile out of all of them.
God, it's almost impossible when you try to make your top 4, top 6. Who do you leave out? And you know, who gets the wooden spoon this year? It is almost impossible to work it out. Maldonado just bullying his way into the paint. Grantham comes over to help out his teammate that was under duress. And Gak will help out his. As I was saying, if you like stories, when Brian Goorjian eventually retires from the NBL and he can talk with free will and impunity, my God, that man has some of the best stories of international basketball you will ever hear. Some of his stories of his time in the CBA, fantastic, and I reckon I've heard 10% of them.
I can only hazard to imagine that 10% is still quite a lot, knowing Goorjian's storytelling capabilities.
Part of the reason I heard 10% was it takes me about an hour to tell each one. So that's part of the reason. But he tells them well. I've always said we're missing a coach in our commentary team, and he's the one. As soon as he retires, get him in the broadcast booth because he knows hoops and he loves to yap.
Absolutely. What an incredible career Gorge has had, and to think that he's still at the helm at the Kings, a very successful franchise this late into his career. Gorge is one of my personal favourites. Oh, look, maybe just a tad. It's all relative, right?
Drinks enough C4 to... I think his heart thinks he's about 21, and he operates like he's 19. Blyenberg back into the game. Great signs. Great signs for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix with Blyenberg back into the game after a little injury scare. More backcourt pressure from the Phoenix. Hawkinson will be tasked with the point guard duties, which is probably a positive thing for Josh King. Lazada. He'll find Yamauchi. Nice pocket pass to Welsh. Layup is off, and the Phoenix are out. 12-point lead, the largest of the ball game. Maldonado open lane to the rim, gives it up. Blyenberg contested front rim.
Once again, I'm not sure if those spot-up looks are really Vrenz's game. Don't mind him taking it, but love to see him on the ball a little bit more.
And for those who are sticking around for the second game as well later tonight, Mason Jones in his first time out with the Perth Wildcats. Lazada, nice little pass down low under pressure. Hawkinson can't finish it. 0 for 2 on as many possessions. But Mason Jones will be suiting up for the Perth Wildcats against the Ryukyu Golden Kings after this game. Someone who's been really talked up a whole lot. And he shot the Perth Wildcats into championship contention, according to the pundits. They released the NBL. 5 of around about sort of, I believe it was 15 or so people asked. 5 had the Adelaide 36ers as champions. 4 had the Perth Wildcats. 3 Melbourne United it might have been. The Sydney Kings, nobody. Oof, which was a surprise to me.
Were you a part of this expert panel, Felix?
I was the the +1. Peter Hawley invited me in. Lazada shaking and baking up the top, gets his lane to the rim, puts it up. Fancy finish, just gets a little bit too smart with it. But I had the Adelaide 36ers out of respect for the roster that they've put together, but geez, the Perth Wildcats not far off them, but I would have the Sydney Kings right up there as well. I was surprised that no one went with the Sydney Kings.
When I think of the Sydney Kings, I think about the resurgence of Jalen Galloway. He had a fantastic time with the Boomers this offseason, and I think most people haven't considered the impact he's going to have on that roster this year. I think he's going to be one of the better local wings in the league.
I wanted to see more of him at the Blitz. I didn't think he brought that same intensity to the Blitz. Now, that we can't read into that too much as the pass gets tipped off by DJ Mitchell. And there we go, getting into the paint. Nice little finish there.
Paddy Ryan, love it.
From Paddy Ryan. Yamauchi working up the top. A little too far away from the rim to cause any strain on the defense. But he gets right into the paint there. The sky hook. Oof. Kareem Abdul-Yamauchi. And the fans are losing their minds. Again. Maldonado, nice move up top. He'll draw the foul.
Just the two fans that made the trip, Felix?
Yeah, surprisingly. Well, I'm sure that hopefully we'll see a couple more up in the bleachers. Those ones are courtside. They paid the big bucks. There's Alice Bigger. Checks into the game. Development player this year for South East Melbourne. Had a foot injury which ruled him out of the entirety of the NBL 1 season. Would have been nice to see him do a bit of work for the Melbourne Tigers.
Could have got you over the line, Felix, potentially.
If Gazy had a sub me in, we would have won. Everyone was saying that, weren't they? Isn't that what they were saying online? No, they weren't.
Who would wave the towels if you were on the court, Felix?
No one.
How would that work?
No one. Who would Gazy be able to look at? He used to always, the thing I love about Andrew, he's one of my favourite people on the earth. I think if he got a job with a different NBL club, he could have been a fantastic NBL coach. He's that good. He used to look down the bench when someone went wrong on the defensive end. He'd look me dead in the eyes and say, what are these guys doing? And I'd say, I don't know, man. As if I would be able to do any better when I was out there on the court.
I was going to say, he's asking the wrong guy.
Yeah. As we wind down this first half, South East Melbourne a 14-point lead. They've really cracked this one open. Can the Sunrockers come back in the second half and make this one a ball game? They fell by around 20 to the Perth Wildcats in game 1 on Friday night. Can they do a little bit better here in the second half? What are your thoughts overall?
Well, I thought we saw a fantastic run from the Phoenix in that second quarter, and it all started on the defensive end. That was a snapshot of the identity that Josh King wants for this team. They were fantastic, getting stops, applying pressure on the ball, getting transition buckets, and they led the rebounding count as well. So they're all the boxes that they want to tick. We do need to see a bit more from the three-point line. 2 of 15, it's not exactly what we want to see, but look, they're not an offensive team. They're a defensive team first.
Well, that's the thing. Josh King, he prides himself on being a defensive coach. We knew that when he came over at the quarter point of last season, and now finally he's been able to get his actual fingerprints onto this roster. John Brown III, Owen Foxwell playing big minutes, Angus Glover getting out there. Malik Lewis into the starting lineup as soon as he got over here. He saw the defensive tools that he had on offer and said, get this man into that starting lineup. And it's worked dividends because over the last 2 games, they have looked fantastic on the defensive end, which is all he cares about at the moment. And Sobey, of course, out for this game. And see the Wildcats. That Ben Henschel, he's got to be related to Ben Henschel, surely. Surely. Look at him. That is Ben Henschel 2.0.
Same hairdresser.
Yeah, waving back at you. Welcome in. We're going to take a little break. Second half, not far away.
Exclusive offers, competitions, and arcade games all in one place. So download the Perth Wildcats app now from the App Store or Google Play and never miss a moment of the action. The Wildcats arcade is back and bigger than ever. we've got 6 brand new games plus your favourites from last season. Shoot hoops or t-shirts, challenge your mates, and win awesome prizes. Download the Wildcats app now and start playing. 14 home games, exciting matchups all season long. And for this weekend only, scan the QR code on the big screen to buy tickets and receive an exclusive discount. First game of the NBL 26 season for the Wildcats is next Saturday night. So get on to that QR code on the big screen for a ticket discount for this weekend only. Evening ceremony being here on a Sunday afternoon. It's wet and wild weather here at the Birth HPC. Check out some international basketball. Hello everybody. Phoenix and the Sunrockers will start things off coming up After this game, the All-Perth Wildcats taking on the Ryukyu Golden Kings. I'm excited to see the first game of US import for the Wildcats. Mason Jones playing this afternoon. That's going to be an exciting matchup between the two teams, and exciting to see Mason on court for the first time for the Wildcats. Look at everybody up here getting their fun feed. The chips, the popcorn, the sushi, I think. Got a nice line of the merchandise stand in the top corner here by door number 1 next to block 206 and 207. In the top corner. With the new Wildcats merchandise with a brand new logo. Be sure to get decked out with some new Wildcats merchandise before the season kicks off next Saturday night against the Jack Jumpers at RAC Arena the Jungle. The Red Army back in the jungle next Saturday night. Hi. Speaking of the merchandise, don't forget to follow Cats Gear on Instagram as well to keep up to date with all new merchandise and sales or anything like that at all. Cats Gear on Instagram for all the fantastic merchandise. As well, giving out discount codes for Wildcats tickets. Be sure to say hello to them. We've got some brochures with a QR code. Hello, hi. Everybody's so friendly. I love it. Scooby there, can you tell me again what that was? We are about to get the second half underway here at the Perth HPC. A big second quarter for the Phoenix. The Sunrockers fans have been cheering them on all afternoon. They're going to keep it going in the second half. It is 49-35. The Phoenix will...
We are back. 14-point lead to the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. We're all here thanks to Brightside Live, doing a fantastic job bringing you these streams across the NBL 1 season. Across these Japanese games as well. Bringing basketball to anyone who wants it. Felix von Hoff and Michael Hooven going to take you through this second half. The Perth Wildcats up next as well against the Ryukyu Golden Kings, and Mason Jones, their superstar point guard, who's projected to be very, very good, is going to be in action for the first time in a Wildcats jersey as Glover gets the pass tipped away. Foxwell will clean it up. And he'll draw the foul. He had a fantastic first half.
Feels like Owen Foxwell is just establishing himself as one of the premier local point guards in this league. And you think there's not many. You think of guys like Shea Ely, I think is probably the first guy that comes to mind. But what a luxury as an NBL team that you don't have to go get an import point guard. That you can have someone like Foxwell at the one. You can go pick up an import wing or something instead.
Having an Australian point guard, if there's one good enough, which I believe Owen Foxwell is, and especially over the next couple of years, he'll continue to get better and better, really allows you to free up your roster. I'm a big fan of talented import bigs, which I think Melbourne United and Edwards have found one there. Don't necessarily need the ball to go one-on-one, but above the rim, play their role. I think they've got a gem in Edwards. Lazada, 5 seconds on the shot clock. That one's tipped off by Foxwell, who every time we've sung his praises, Malik Lewis just takes about 7 steps on the way to the rim.
Once again, Owen Foxwell though, right? Getting the steal. It'll be interesting to see if it translates against NBL competition. But right now, he is flat out dominant on the defensive end.
And every time we start to sing his praises, he does something special. Harper Jr. Welsh up top. Well, it's Tanaka who's going to find Harper Jr. again. That one hits front iron. Glover almost loses the dribble. Nice pass there. Almost a reversing of roles. Hunter up top to Foxwell down low. Can't complete it.
I think we're going to see a bit of playmaking by committee for this Southeast team. Owen Foxwell, obviously the head of the snake in that regard, but Brent's Weinberg, and we're seeing a bit of playmaking from Geordie Hunter as well. It's going to be a real 5-man offense.
Hawkinson could possibly get closer as that one rattles out. Lewis pulls up, heavily contested, cashes it.
He's looked good this preseason, hasn't he?
Certainly has. He's taken that second year next star step up that they always do. And at his age, he'll just continue to get better with more reps throughout the year. Tanaka steps back, heavily contested by Glover, bounces off the front rim, and Lazada goes upstairs and tries to baptize Malik Lewis. You said it before, next star on next star crime. He is out for blood.
Something we also said before, a little bit optimistic. That was a reach, wasn't it?
Certainly was. We're not going to die wondering. Hunter, 10 seconds on the shot clock, guarded by Walsh. Gets him deep into the paint and finishes a nice little lefty hook. Timeout, Sunrockers. Margin from 14 to 20. Oh, and have a look at that. David Anderson, QE, the freshest man in the league. Liam Santa Maria as well. He's always watching on with his next stars. But David Anderson, you will not find a cooler customer across the NBL sphere than David Anderson.
Absolute legend of the game as well, right? Such a fantastic career. Great to see him still floating around the NBL circles and
he's
being
floating
so
all
involved.
right. He's certainly floating. He'll be involved for a very, very long time. Time out to the Sunrockers, as this lead has pushed out to 20 points.
We've been banging on about Owen Foxwell, but you can't be understated. He's been the leading scorer so far in this game, but also on Friday night, and we're seeing that as a result of his Boomers experience earlier this offseason. He's just going from strength to strength. I feel like every passing minute we're watching this game, we're seeing him just break out more and more.
Now, would you be in the same camp as me when I think it's mildly dangerous for teams when they have young, talented players that perform very well against a travelling Japanese B-League team? Because we know that there's a lot of money on offer over there. Now, usually these teams go for what the Japanese sort of local basketball community doesn't have, which is size and extreme athleticism. That's usually where they go for their imports. There are a lot of Owen Foxwell-esque players, you know, crafty point guards over there in Japan. So maybe not as much of a risk, but It's always a worry that they get their eyes on some talent here and have some very big checkbooks that they can throw at them. Lewis, nice little Euro step. He'll go to the line for 2.
Well, look, on the surface, I would say the same, that, you know, it's unlikely that they would go and recruit a point guard like Owen Foxwell, but it begs the question. I wonder what Owen Foxwell's background is, nationality-wise, and whether he could consider himself as a local potentially in some of these Asian leagues.
It's very true, very true. We'll have to do some digging on that. So Malik Lewis cashes the first. Perth Wildcats fans at the back, you can see starting to stream in. It's Mason Jones, the man who took them from a lot of people predicting they'd finish around that 4-5 mark to now being a championship contender with the likes of Adelaide 36ers and Melbourne United. Will he be as good as advertised? G League stats. He put up a lot of points and they often translate over those G League stats. Nice little pass there from Didi Lazada to find the shooter on the wing. And Harper Jr. cashes it.
It was a long off-season for the Perth Wildcats, wasn't it? It was a bit of a slow burn. Obviously, you know, when you lose Bryce early, everyone was sort of out for blood. But Mason Jones, what a perfect sort of replacement, as good as you could possibly get.
Foxwell looked to get a little bit of contact, goes unwhistled, and Harper Jr.'s out the other way. Hawkinson finds his point guard again. He'll get it back. Lazada buries the triple. Couldn't land one of the most ambitious dunks we've ever seen earlier, but he'll get an extra point now that far. Nice pass there to the back cut of Glover. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Hunter turns down the triple. Glover, he won't. For good reason. Splash.
We've touched on the lack of shooting on this team. I think Angus Glover is going to be a big piece for that, and he's going to be so vital with that floor spacing on the wing.
Lazada in no rush up the top. Skip pass. Tanaka. All net. Sunrockers not out of this one. 16-point game. Plenty of ball left to play. Nice little spin move from Geordie Hunter. Can't complete. Malik Lewis will wrangle in the offensive rebound. And Hunter will get another chance at it on the other hand.
Good touch on the left, doesn't he? Both hands.
Very strong, that hook shot. And he's another guy that just doesn't overcomplicate the game of basketball. No need to fade away too far. Just get to your hook shot, use your height. Lazada steps back, buries it. Free-flowing basketball at the Perth Entertainment Centre. Foxwell, we've sung his praises all night. Nice little step back there. Can't put the cherry on top. Tough pass, finds Hawkinson in the paint. Looks to have got clobbered on the way through. But the referee saw it differently and, judging by no negative reaction, may have seen it correctly.
Yeah, quite clearly a foul, I think, on that one. How's about the move by Owen Foxwell down the other end? He missed it, but just one of those confidence shots, right? You're seeing him take on a bigger offensive load, and those are the sort of shots that are really going to help him sort of up that volume.
Tanaka. That's all net. Tanaka's starting to find his stroke from the outside, and boy, do the Sunrockers need it right now. 13-point margin. They're slowly eating into it. Got as high as 20 earlier in the game. Glover just shaking and baking. Mitchell. He can't return serve on that end, and the Sunrockers can continue to eat into the lead. Harper. Vendrome hasn't quite had the same effect he had in game one here as that pass gets tipped away. Maldonado with the quick release in the corner. Phoenix just letting them hang around the Sunrockers. Grantham, we haven't seen too much of him. Harper Jr., geez, that would have really Sent the two fans courtside crazy for the Sunrockers. Blyenberg into the game. Does a good job of finding his teammates on the perimeter with those explorative dribbles. It's a nice, tough finish there from Maldonado.
So fascinating. We've only had the 7 minutes from Vren so far. Again, the confidence that Josh King has in him right now, maybe he's a bit of a project for this team. Maybe as the season comes along, his role's going to grow. But right now, it doesn't feel like he has the full trust of Josh King.
Van Drame will find Grantham with an open lane to the rim, but it'll be picked off there. Good hands by DJ Mitchell, who's shown some pretty promising signs defensively throughout the blitz and these two preseason games.
DJ is one of those guys. We've seen the glimpses across his previous seasons in the NBL. He's someone with a bit of size. He's got a bit of athleticism to him as well, a strong body. It's all about buying in for him, and I think that's why Josh King is going to be a fantastic coach for him.
Van Drame up top. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Welsh is going to have to find something to do with it. Finds Nadaki, who gets stuck on an island. A great defense by Southeast Melbourne, all up until the last second in which they get called for a push.
And
Coach killing stuff there.
It's those little things for Vrens. We talk about all the special qualities he has, that passing off the dribble, which is so fun to watch. But that's the stuff that's going to get him on or off the court. He needs to really tighten up on the defensive end, among other things.
Josh King, 12 coffees a day, I believe, is around that mark, is what we heard in the preseason. And speaking of coffee, someone get one to Murphy, because he needs one if he misses this. 0 for 3 from the three-point line. Let Southeast and Vrens off the hook. If the foul at the last second of the shot clock after a good defensive possession's a coach killer, then God knows what that is. And DJ Mitchell with a nice lay-in. And Southeast have just pushed this one back out to 17 points. Vendrome with a nice drive. Well put off there by Gorjok Gak. Maldonado in the open court. Has he been able to fool the referee into a shooting foul? I don't believe so. Shout out to the Perth Wildcats for hosting this international series. We hear so much about the Japanese B-League, but it's great to get them over here on the court as DJ Mitchell just rams one down the throat, and a timeout for the Shibuya Sunrockers. What are you seeing, Mike?
Southeast are continuing their great play. Again, not a lot going from outside the arc right now. Still 2 of 15, but that defensive identity is still strong. And we just saw Gorjok Gak protecting the rim. I feel like we've been rattling off one by one every single player on this Phoenix roster. They bring something to the table defensively. Very hard to pick out one player on this team that is a liability on the defensive end.
Oh, no. The crazed Sunrockers fan. Watch out, Liam Santa Maria. How good is that? The Josh Hawkinson towels. I was saying before to Pete, I would love to go over to Japan. I am going to Japan in November, so maybe I'll have a chance to catch a game out there. But the Japanese in business, in life, are so efficient with so many things. I would love to see how the basketball teams operate over there. You just imagine it'd be everything working like clockwork.
And you hear that all the Australians that go over, they just have a fantastic time
They
there on and off the
absolutely
court. Yeah.
love it. And you see every second Australian is visiting Japan at the moment because the currency exchange is so good. Me being one of those shortly.
I know Pete wasn't giving you a lot of rope to talk about your trip, but I'm
No,
more
he
than
wasn't.
happy.
He was giving me donuts.
You've got the green light here tonight, Felix. Tell me
Nice.
all about it.
Nice. We'll be doing that. You know, they did the Mario Kart in the streets.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, I'll be doing that. There's a Capybara Cafe that I'll be going to for sure, amongst many other things that I probably care not to mention on a broadcast. Can the Sunrockers just eat into this lead and give us a ball game in the final quarter? Welsh gets it to Grantham. Can't put that in. There is a lid on the rim right now for the Sunrockers. Tipped away again by Gorjok Gak. Josh King will be loving what he sees, but how much of it is the defense and how much of it is just missing open shots? Murphy in transition finds Grantham, who gets hard fouled, and if these free throws miss, these fans might storm the court.
You made a good point there, Felix. The defense has looked really good, but it's easy for it to look good when the other team can't throw the ball in the ocean. Yep. So what's it going to look like at the NBL level against NBL opposition? That's yet to be seen. On paper, it ticks all the boxes. You know, they've got the rim protection, they've got the ball pressure, but right now we're seeing some offensive struggles, and as you said, I think it's partly to do with Southeast, but I think they're also struggling in their own right.
Oh dear. That one rattles home unconvincingly. There we go, an 18-point lead. And I believe an unsportsmanlike foul call, which was probably the correct decision there in the way of the Sunrockers. Vendrame steps back. Heavily contested, and they'll work their way to the line again.
Those jump shooting fouls, you just don't need them, do you?
Certainly don't. Just a bit overzealous on the closeout there, and if you're ever going to try to fight your way back into a game, it's three-point shots and free throws. Oh, Cardinal sin by the court sweepers there. Walking on the baseline while the shooter's shooting a free throw.
It's a bit cheap, isn't it?
Oh, no. Wouldn't want to be doing that on the road. Won't get away with it now. Not long to go here in the third quarter. A little run from the Sunrockers was mostly staved away. DJ Mitchell gets into the paint, and I'll tell you what, Welsh knew that the play was dead, but when that one hits TikTok, if he had landed it, no one's going to know that the whistle had already been blown. So you got to be careful in today's age of social media.
I think DJ just had to remind everyone he's got a little bit of ups there.
Yeah. Ryan up top. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Mitchell throws it up to Gak, who puts it down. Gorjok Gak. Above the rim threat. Nice pass by DJ Mitchell. Murphy finds Grantham, tries his luck from the outside. They'll need every point of that, and they can't get it. But Gorjok Gak giveth and he taketh. A foul on the other end. You have a look at this. Maldonado. Well, DJ Mitchell it was. The nicely weighted pass. And that chemistry will continue to develop.
One of the better lob threats in the league, Gorjok Gak. He's 6'11", 7'5" wingspan, just an insane length to him. As I said, an interior presence on both ends of the floor.
Vendrame, not the desired outcome, dribbles it off the foot right in front of the opposition bench.
Hunter Maldonado doesn't light up the box score. I don't think he ever will in this league, but he's an incredibly steady player. He's had 7 points, 5 rebounds so far, but we're just seeing him do all the little things. Again, defending the point guards there as a bigger guard, being able to stick with them on the perimeter, but then also being able to switch onto the bigger players. I think he's someone that's going to be a very cohesive piece for Josh King, even if he isn't going to be, player of the game and put up big stat lines.
I'm with you. And everything tips off September 18. Play it loud. Melbourne and Tasmania are going to be game 1. We've still got, of course, the NBL European games. Partizan and Panathinaikos coming out here to hoop it up in Melbourne this coming Thursday, I believe it is. And then again in Sydney on Sunday. We've got it all happening. We've got teams from all over the world. The Pelicans. When do the Pelicans get here?
I have no idea.
I think it's in November. Who else can we possibly get out here? We got the B League, we got the NBA, we got the highest quality of EuroLeague teams. I'd say get the CBA teams out here, but if you've seen the CBA teams, they've got a staff of about 600.
Is that right?
They've got a staff, from my time in China, some of these CBA teams are rolling around with staffs bigger than the town that they are based in. So I can imagine it's very difficult to travel them all the way out here. Would love to see it.
You're right, though. This has been one of the most eventful pre-seasons we've had between EuroLeague, between NBA. We've had so much to be excited about, and the regular season hasn't even started.
DJ Mitchell, 5 seconds on the shot clock, and he cap off a fantastic quarter. He can't. Grantha will push it the other way. Last second, the pass is errant. And with 3 seconds on the clock, the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix will have a chance to push this one back out to 20. Or, God forbid, 21. No luck on the last second heave. And it is a convincing lead, 71-53 at the 3-quarter time break for Southeast Melbourne. But it's a 53 that Josh King will be focusing on. They're doing it on the defensive end.
Absolutely dominant on that end of the floor. They've kept them to 43% from the field, 33% from the three-point line, forced a lot of turnovers as well, and that defense turning into offense is creating easy points. That's going to be a real staple to their offensive game.
47% from the field. They've been able to pick themselves up there, haven't they? 70% from the free throw line and 64% from the free throw line. 9-14 for the Sunrockers. They won't be too happy with that for a team that's usually pretty hot from the outside in any direction. Out rebounding, out assisting, out stealing, but being out blocked.
Yes. This Sunrockers team is solid, though. I like some of their big guys, and you can see so much of the offense from these B-League teams runs through those front court pieces. A big reason why guys like Nick Kay, Keanu Pinder, Yanni Wetzel make the jump and are so productive over in this league. They're such a feature of both ends of the court.
Just said a suggestion on Twitter. Now, I've said before to bring the Philippines national team out here. And maybe we do keep the foul limit for that one. But bringing some PBA teams out here as well, the Philippine Basketball Association, that'll be entertaining as well. As Nick says on Twitter, it certainly would be.
I would love to see...
Play it in a cage. Philippines versus Australia in a cage or a ladder match.
Where is Thornmaker when you need him? It's about time we have him in the NBL. I want to see that fly kick back in action. I would love to see... We have the EuroLeague in Europe. I would love to see some sort of Asia-Oceanic league which involves the NBL, and it involves the PBA teams and the Japanese
Champions League type setup. That'd be
absolutely
fantastic. $3 million prize. Now, I'm sure eventually just travel gets easier and easier and more money pumped into these teams and leagues. I'm sure we'll have that in the not-too-distant future. Nice little pass to Hawkinson, who puts it into that. One last run in them left. Don't forget, you've only got until Thursday to jump into Supercoach, but you can jump in at any time throughout the year this year because it's Beat the Coach. It'll be weekly instead of across the entire season. So maybe if you're not feeling it, maybe if you're just watching the footy this week, you still got time to get into it later as shot clock will time out on Angus Glover. But lucky for him, he won't be registered with a missed field goal attempt.
Who would you have on your Supercoach team round one? Felix? Who are you
Kendrick
liking?
Davis.
Yep.
Kendrick Davis. Oh, no, he's not. Actually, round one, because you unfortunately need who's playing 2 games. That's the hard part with Supercoach. You sort of do have to be locked into the schedule of teams.
Well, let's take out the doubles.
Taking out the doubles.
Just in
I
a
think
vacuum.
if you said who's my number one player across the year to get involved with Supercoach, it's going to be Kendrick Davis, for sure. And I think he is hungry to stat pad this year. I think he's hungry for an MVP. And I think he'll be putting up some egregious type numbers. He'll be getting those double-doubles with his system points pretty easily. Haven't needed to see too much of John Brown throughout this game.
Only 10 minutes for John Brown so far in this game, but I feel like he's a bit of a known commodity. You know, we've spoken about Vrenz. He's a limited opportunity. He's a bit of an unknown. I think he's still figuring it out, but John Brown, come regular season, you know what you're going to get from him.
Certainly, the way he moves the ball and talks points on defense. Glover gets into the paint, avoids the shot blocker as well. A nice little finish. Now, it was about this point of the game last night that DJ Scooby started to get into a bit of Panic at the Disco type operation.
I will say that's the one thing that has underwhelmed me so far this game. I was looking for a bit of DJ Scoob, but
hopefully we haven't scared him off out of the bangers. As Hawkinson knocks one down from the outside. Nice pass there from Geordie Hunter. Glover couldn't find much to do with it and gets the pass back. Nice play by Southeast and fouled in the process. He did bring out, I believe it was Panic at the Disco late in the game, and it stuck out like dog's proverbials compared to what we had been hearing for a majority of the game. But he does do a fantastic job. The Perth Wildcats, the in-game entertainment that they do is second to none.
I will say I have been to a game at RAC Arena. Isn't that fantastic? I didn't think anything would top John Cain, but that to me is my number one.
They do a very good job at John Cain as well. Rattler on the mic. Foxwell. That one's off. And Hunter, just a little bit lackadaisical with it on the offensive rebound, gets it picked. Hawkinson. He's found his stroke from the outside. And Michael, I don't want to scare you here, mate, but we've got a ball game on our hands. A little under 8 minutes, 12 points. Hawkinson on fire.
He's been fantastic for them, hasn't he? Leading scorer for them last B-League season, 17 points a game.
Tough finish there from John Brown. There he is. If I could take one player right now that we've seen across these two games and insert them into the NBL, it'd certainly be him. Harper Jr. works. Can he find Hawkinson again? Gets it tipped off. Glover with the skip. Oh, Malik Lewis finds too easy. Brown right under the rim, and just as the run started, it ended. Timeout Sunrockers, 6:45 to go. Don't forget, we got another game coming up. The Perth Wildcats, as you can see the fans in the background just steaming in. Mason Jones, their superstar guard, will be taking part, throwing that Wildcats jumper on for the first time. And the Wildcats, well, you can never read into one game. They'll be able to get a real judge of just how good he is.
I am very, very excited to see Mason Jones. You touched on it earlier, some elite G League statistics. I believe it was 23 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists per game. Usually when we see those sort of numbers in the G League, that means someone is going to dominate here. I think he could potentially be an MVP candidate.
Oh, give me a spell. You sound like Pete Hooley over here.
Hey, I didn't rattle off 10 other MVP candidates like Hools.
Hooley has given me his All-NBL first team, which contains 16 players. There's Ben Henchel's brother or twin again. He has given me about 10 different championship winners. Actually, he told me Canberra could win the championship this year. I had to tell him they're not in the league yet, Peter.
Talk about jumping the gun.
Told me Casper Ware might win the MVP. He's off his rocker, old Pete Hooley. We love him. But he changes that opinion far too much. 16-point lead to Southeast Melbourne. Been doing a great job on the defensive end, limiting this Sunrockers lineup, which is stacked with talent, to just the 61 points. Lazada, as the shot clock winds down, he'll get himself to the corner. Nice skip pass there, finds the open shooter, and he'll cash it in. Grantham, we see most of his work on the inside.
So money where your mouth is, Felix. You're talking up Kendrick Davis. Is that your MVP for this season?
Yep.
Really?
I think Sydney are going to win enough games. I think Kendrick, he's potentially the MVP last year. I think Bryce Cotton, as Grantham gets it tipped away there. He wants the foul. He's not going to get it. Great hands by, well, I presume could have been Malik Lewis. No sense of theatre to take the three on the other end. He'll come up with it here, though. Steps back. Can't complete the end-to-end. The Sunrockers still a little life left in them. Lazada steps into the paint, spins.
When's the last time you listened to Dizzy Rascal?
About 3 seconds ago. You?
I would say the same.
I love it. DJ Scoob has just got this ability to go from one track, one genre to another, unlike any DJ I've ever seen before, and still do it well. None of it's jarring. So nothing I'm saying here is sarcastic or in jest. I genuinely think they do a fantastic job in Perth, and DJ Scoob does do a fantastic job week in, week out. Foot violation. The refs are mic'd up as well. If you hear a little bit about that throughout the game, and I don't mind the refs mic'd up because sometimes you get the nice, you can jump in there for a little bit of chat in between them, and sometimes, especially when you call the games from a booth, just not exactly sure what's been called. Glover has to really wrangle the pass in, but it doesn't matter. So what for the people who say the passer makes the shot, because that was all Angus.
He's shooting it with confidence. I really love Angus Glover's game. I think he's a fantastic fit on this South East Melbourne team.
Hawkinson, easy as you like.
It's been the bright spot for the Sunrockers. He has had 19 points now.
Maldonado finds Gack. Little fadeaway hook shot is way off. And barring a miracle for the Sunrockers, and that certainly won't help them in their quest to bring this one tighter, South East Melbourne are going to come away with yet another really strong win. And they're going to head into NBL 26 with a heap of confidence on the defensive end.
South East Melbourne have forced 18 turnovers for the Sunrockers. 18-6 is the turnover count for both teams. So again, that's one of those categories we're going to have to monitor through the season. I think it's going to be a real big barometer for South East success.
There we go. I've got to get my hands on one of those towels. Blyenberg back into the game. And that's what you want to see from him. Nice strong drive, good finish, and one.
Such a fascinating player. I wish we could have seen more of him in this game and across this preseason, because we're seeing the glimpses. I think that is something we really do want to see. One of the things within his reputation was that he doesn't love contact so far. You can see his body a little scrawny compared to the average player. He is finding it challenging to finish at the rim with contact, but that's a good sign right there.
Great sign. He's certainly a guy that I want for it to work out for. Anytime you got those sort of physical tools. Harper Jr. Cross back spin, step back from Grantham. Maldonado up top. One-on-one on the block. Nice strong move. Draws the contact.
Paddy Ryan, we love to see it. A couple of years at Menlo College. Former COE kid. Fantastic lefty. I don't know if he's officially announced as a South East Melbourne DP just yet, but you would imagine if not, then he's going to be around the team throughout the course of the season. And I think I've liked what I've seen from him so far in this game.
Well, he's been tough. Nazaki into the game as the Sunrockers just start to clear the bench. So this will be the last of their little oceanic trip. They'll head back and get ready for what is a long and arduous Japanese B-League season. I believe 60 games?
Yes,
about?
60 games. 30-30 for the Sunrockers last season. Couldn't have split it.
That is a lot of basketball. Southeast will come up with a board here and get another chance at it. Vrenz once again. Does he get the same result? Doesn't. Ooh. Nice follow there from Maldonado. Upper Junior just well guarded by Ryan. Murphy can't find anything. Welsh will be the last one left to heave up the mid-range. He'll come up with his own board. And God knows what that was, but it worked.
I've seen the underhand free throw before, but that was a bit of a two-hand underhand paint shot.
He's a tough player as well, Welsh, and he's exactly the type of import that you see over there, just a hard-nosed big boy. It's always surprised that the money that Tasmania's been able to throw at a guy like Will Magnay, he's your Japanese B-League prototype.
Absolutely. How great is it to have him continue to be in the NBL?
Where do you rank Tasmania at? They're a tough one for me. A lot of people are very high on them. I've got them missing finals.
I like them. I am a big fan of Bryce Hamilton. I think he's going to be one of the better imports in the league. He has
Pete told me he could win the MVP.
Is that right? All right, we've only got 8 more to go.
Told me Tiger Campbell's a chance as well.
Yep.
Mitchell showing some good signs tonight, but Welsh swats that away.
We've spoken about all the teams that look to be competitive. I think one of the harder conversations to have is what team is going to end up near the bottom?
I have tried to think of who it would be, and you look at New Zealand and Baker, the other import guard they've got, played their first game over in Japan the other day, and he looked fantastic. You add him to PJC and Brockington. There's a world where we're looking at the end of the year and we say that's the best import trio.
Yeah. I mean, Brockington had a fantastic blitz, didn't he? And to see him do so well, Parker Jackson Cartwright's a known commodity. We know he's going to be fantastic.
This will be the first time we see Parker Jackson Cartwright with some proper firepower next to him to be able to run with and to take some of that scoring load off him, because I think PJC's at his best when he's able to get in there, probe, and not being forced to take, as a much smaller guard, being forced to take all these extra shots and he probably wouldn't need to.
I think having a backcourt mate, obviously he was so productive in the blitz, but someone that can run with him as well. I think being able to create a roster that fits with his pace of play, that obviously wasn't the case when they had Taco Fall last season, and that's where we saw a lot of the struggles take place.
Exciting times for the New Zealand Breakers. So many locals on that roster as well as Grantham comes upstairs and throws it down with a bit of authority. Who cares about the score? That was a hammer.
Southeast defense has been so watertight all game. 2 minutes left. You give up one of those. That's going straight to the TikTok, I think, Felix.
That'll be on TikTok. And sorry, Alice Bigger. They're going to get blocked on the other end. End-to-end stuff from Grantham.
I was going to say they're going to crop out the score as well, I imagine.
I would hope so. Still early days for these B-League teams, though. Welsh gets it inside. He'll draw the foul. A little bit of energy in the building in this final minute 55. Chance to take this to a 10-point game. And, Michael, you're a young fella. But dare I say it, I've seen crazier things before.
I have no doubt that you have, Felix. That was a big one, though.
And all hope is gone. All hope is gone. Almost. I
want to see the courtside fans' reaction to that one.
Well, they've left. They're out in anger. They're protesting. $11-point game. DJ Mitchell just probes. Maldonado with the step back. And Alice Bigger. Turnover on the pass back in bounds. Good call by the official. Backcourt violation as DJ Mitchell tried to keep it alive.
Bit rare to see Hunter Maldonado creating a shot like that. We expect that from most import guards, but he's someone that really picks his spots. So, he's more of a spot-up guy. He picks the right drives here and there. An efficient player, not necessarily a volume guy.
And Neil Barnard, the MC for the Perth Wildcats, just getting a Sunrockers chant going. Bit of road support for this Japanese team as Murphy fades away, can't find anything. And Sunrockers will come back up with it, but they'll tip it away again. Rough stuff at the end and probably an unnecessary foul for John Lawrence Harper Jr., which will send DJ Mitchell the length of the floor. Perth Wildcats up next against the Ryoku Golden Kings. Mason Jones in action. Star guard, some big G League numbers. And as Michael said before, those translate well to the NBL. So he's got the pedigree. And all that the Perth Wildcats need with JLA in that front court. There's a strong point guard in the back court with a strong coach in John Riley. And you get the feeling they'll be pretty confident going into NBL 26.
JLA looked good on Friday night as well, didn't he?
Very good.
You forget when these guys leave for a year or two just how good they are.
Three-point shot is off. Bryanberg. Nice pass to Mitchell, who just corrals it in. Tough little hook shot on the bigger opponent.
Forgive me if I've listed 3 or 4 championship winners off already on this broadcast, but I think the Perth Wildcats might be in contention, and that's something that I don't think many people would have been saying, perhaps even a month or two ago.
Side of the backboard stuff there. Certainly not. There was a lot of people that thought after Bryce Cotton, how are they going to recover? And tried to tell them at the end of last season that this is an organisation that had a lot of success before Bryce Cotton, and they'll have a lot of success after Bryce Cotton. One man does not make an organisation as successful as that. He's a superstar player and he'll do very well in Adelaide, but Perth Wildcats will continue to be a dominant force in the NBL for decades to come. And that's all she wrote at the Perth High Performance Centre. Strong performance on the defensive end yet again for South East Melbourne. And the Sunrockers, well, they'll head back to Japan, get ready to prep for their long and arduous 60-game season. They were 30-30 last year. They'll look to better on that. And I'm sure the talent of Josh Hawkinson, one day we can dream that maybe we get to see him in the NBL. We can't get him as a local. He's a Japanese citizen, a naturalised Japanese citizen, just like we've seen Bryce Cotton become Australian. And the rules, maybe they can bend him to get a player of his calibre over here, but he was impressive in his 2 games. But outside of that, it's all South East Melbourne. Dominant performance in both games. Josh King with his blueprint, fingerprints all over this one on the defensive end.
That's right. I thought that was an absolute masterclass on the defensive end from South East Melbourne from start to finish. It started with Owen Foxwell. Another fantastic game from him. His point of attack defense was great. We saw the rim protection from guys like Gorjok Gak. I think they're going to be one of the better defensive teams in the league this year.
Well, they will be. Look at the respect being shown by the Sunrockers, bowing to the crowd like that. You just got to have so much respect for the Japanese culture and the way that they go about almost everything they do. But starting soon, the Perth Wildcats, and we've said it sound like a broken record. Mason Jones in his first outing, he'll join forces with JLA, Elijah Pepper and the crew. And we'll see what that chemistry is like. Not far away, the Perth Wildcats taking on the Ryoku Golden Kings.